Hey tubers, welcome back for another adventure. Yeah, I bought another one. So, another vintage machine, Honda ATC 185S 1982 vintage. I always like to start with the backstory, mostly because I don't want anything hot in my collection. I just don't like stuff with dubious backgrounds. Anyway, a friend of mine found this on Facebook and bought it up in Poughkeepsie. The guy who had it on Facebook, for whatever reason, couldn't seem to sell it. He was asking $500. And it looks like a couple of pieces were sold. I mean, there was a front rack on this thing, and I believe he sold the seat and the back plastic. So my buddy went up there, took a look at it, pulled the string, and said, I'll tell you what, you can either let 1,000 people from Facebook show up and chew you up on the price, or I'll give you $200 right now, you take down the ad and we're all good. So the guy went with that. So my friend picked it up for a couple of $100. He got the machine home, spent a few minutes with it, realized he didn't have back plastic, right? And he decided, you know what? Maybe old Harvey needs this. So he gave me a call and said, hey, I got $200 tied up in this. I drove all the way up to Poughkeepsie to buy it, so I got a lot of gas money invested. You know, will you give me $300 for it? Will you give me $300? So, you know, there just aren't many of these left out there. So I said yes. You guys know, and I say it often enough, I like to pay the parts prices for these things, and I spent $300. Did I get $300 worth of parts? All three tires hold air, but you guys could see that, right? They will not hold air for much longer. Normally when they sit flat for quite a long period of time, when you fill them up with air, you end up with that cracking. So anyway, I got three tires that hold air. I got the hubs that are intact. These are split rims. You take them apart to put the tires on and then bolt them back together again. But the hubs will go on just about anything. So I can theoretically move the tires around should I need to turn something into a roller. I also got, you know, the front fender, the headlight, throttle, right? Looks like the levers here and intact, right? The switch is here. It seems to move, right? Both of them. So, I mean, that's good stuff. The recoil is here. Looks like the original rope. The shifter is here. It's not welded. Right, I still have the chain guard. Right, the pulse generator is there. Right, the exhaust system appears to be intact, including the spark arrestor. So I got my $300 worth of parts. Oh, and the back taillight's there. So I got my $300 worth of parts. Even if the motor is just dead meat, I'm gonna do okay. So it was worth the $300 to me, and I'm glad that my buddy managed to pull $100 out of the deal for himself. Just quickly on the backstory, given the moss growing on it and everything else, I think it was in a backyard somewhere or behind a shed. It was probably partially covered, not completely covered. Could have been kept on a garage, on a driveway. See the way, like, it doesn't roll. The brakes or something are locked. I have to get into that. But you see the way how pitted this is, and the front is all rotted. The front does roll, but this is rotted out. I have the feeling it was sitting on a driveway and somebody would use salt on the driveway. So it kind of gives me a little bit of background. Poughkeepsie, that could be anything from city, apartment dwelling type city, or it could be quite suburban. Even parts of Poughkeepsie are almost rural, right? There are a few zip codes in Poughkeepsie, so I'm not exactly sure which one of those areas it's from. Anywhere from urban, suburban, or rural. Yeah, I didn't get that much information. Now the question, what's wrong with it? Obviously, I need the back plastic. I can run it without the front rack. It did take a little bit of a beating, right? I mean, I'm dented up and banged up here. I didn't notice any cracks when I went through it. It does have the sprocket cover and the chain guard, which is cool. What's strange about it is, and I'm going to let you guys diagnose it, and that'll be another video when we actually get it started and running, right? I do plan on doing that. Like the first time you pull the string, it's actually got pretty good compression. If it sits for a while, the first time you pull the string, you can feel the compression. As you pull the string more and more and more, the compression goes away to the point where it's like, you know what I mean? You just hear the air whistling, right? So that's what's wrong with it, and I'm going to let you guys take a moment to diagnose it. I'm pretty sure you'll figure it out quickly. Now, it does have the air cleaner and all the hoses on it, which is good. But if I had to guess, if I had to put money on it, I'm wondering if there isn't a mouse nest in here. I'm just wondering. Mice seems to be this year's reason why everything I own is destroyed. So I'm wondering about that. It's interesting that somebody turned off the gas. I mean, this gas tank would have leaked it all out anyway. It's interesting somebody turned off the gas. If they actually ran the carburetor out, it would be savable. I don't know if it's a real, I think it might be a real Kevin also. I'm putting my face and nose right underneath here. If a mouse or a bee pops out, you'll hear me chirping and jumping and screaming like a little girl. Let's just quickly talk about inconsistencies. You guys might be able to help me with that. The tag says 185S. The gas tank says 185S. Consistent, right? I got no front suspension here. I thought, especially in 1982, right? The 185 had no suspension. The 185S does have suspension. Maybe one of you guys who owned a 185S back in 82 that did not have suspension could explain that to me, or maybe it's just like that. This does not appear to be removed. Normally it's like a little chewed up on, and I just don't feel that, right? This doesn't feel chewed up, and that doesn't feel chewed up. Even the handlebars are pretty good. I don't know, maybe they used the 6-point on everything. But even with that, normally things are a little chewed up. Normally there's some kind of indication, and there is no indication that the forks were changed out. So, other than the no compression motor, it doesn't roll. It's just locked. Locked. Not almost locked, not a little bit locked. The rear end is locked. Let's take a look at the brake cables. The brake cables look loose, right? You can tap the bar backwards, which loosen things up. That's what I'll do first. Nothing's worse than having to kind of carry one of these things around, right? It's hard on the back, and it's inconvenient because you find yourself working in the sun. So we are going to have to make it a roller. That's got to be the first thing I do. Maybe even before it leaves the truck. Now I mentioned the back lift bar was broken, and you can see the lift bar goes there, and then it seems to go back down to the axle. Right, this is loose, but the lens is intact, which is a good thing. Let's take a quick walk and see what this back bar actually looks like on one that's complete. So this one is a 1983 185S, and they do the lift bar completely different, right? You got this here, and it looks like the lift bar bolts on completely separately, right? That's welded there and so forth. On this guy, the whole thing bolts on. In theory, I guess I could cut this off and just put your regular lift bar on the back of it. Let's see if there's another one floating around. This must be the only 82 in the horde. I've seen 83s and 84s. It's different than that really old 185 I picked up in Pennsylvania, so they must have just done that strange extra metal for maybe, doesn't appear to be for the tow hitch either. I'm not quite sure why they did it like that, but it's different than others. I think I can just kind of clean this up and put a regular, just a regular lift bar on the back. I'm not sure any of that extra metal is necessary for anything. So yeah, I think I could just get this lift bar off and go with more of the standard models. A little disappointing, it doesn't appear as if I have one of these that I'm parting out either. It looks like everything's intact, so you always end up with that, right? If you don't want to take anything apart, right, everything runs to some extent. It's always a little annoying because then you can't come up with spares. It is crazy hot where I am in the Hudson Valley, and I'm really actually having trouble with the camera misbehaving. I didn't realize, you know, these cameras didn't behave well as you approach 100 degrees. I'm also sweating. So we'll be wrapping this up. Anyway, my plan for this machine is to get it running. I'm going to sniff around the horde to see what I find for a gas tank. If not, this is going to be a double gas tank. Yeah, this is completely rotted out. So cosmetically it looks okay. It's got that nice patina on it. So we'd like to get that running. Actually, just take a second. Let's take a look at the oil. See if we got a milkshake going on here, what it looks like. Oh, Texas crude. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to get this running. They never go back in. So that's the plan for it. You'll be seeing it again soon. It'll come off the truck. We'll go through the troubleshooting routine. Particularly, I need it to roll. If it doesn't roll, it's just a brick, a 300-pound brick, right? It just hurts to move it around. Anyway, in the meantime, I really want to thank everyone for dropping by to watch, everyone who comments, all my subscribers. Please remember, feet down, heads up, and get out there and enjoy each and every day. Bye now.